Hey guys, what is up? It's me, Vole, and welcome back to a brand new video here on the Accurate and Powerful LEGO Gun series. Today we'll be taking a look at this LEGO Revolver. And here is the LEGO gun in question, and before we do go on and do the testing of this gun, allow me to give you a brief overview of this revolver as well as showing you how to load. So this revolver is a 6-shooter single action revolver. Now the cylinder, due to the limitations that I've faced, is a manual cylinder. However, in future builds I would like to rectify this issue with the revolver, and it does use this hammer to strike the round out of the cylinder like so. Loading it is very simple, so pretend the hammer's cocked like this and is actually being fired. What you would need to do before loading is cock the hammer, then break apart the grip and receiver from the barrel or section of the gun, and then what you may notice is there is this cylinder with 6 holes to fit 6 axles that look like this. So you would then get the axles and insert them into the gun like so, loading a maximum of anywhere between the amount of rounds you want to load and 6. But I would recommend 5 due to the fact that this revolver is very fiddly with the orientation. Once you've done that, you lock the revolver in place, get everything all sorted, and then you're ready to fire. So turn the cylinder until the round is in line with the barrel, and then fire. And you do this until your cylinder is empty, and there you are. Now that I've given you a brief overview, it is now time to do the range test. So here we are with the range test, and what I've got here is this revolver loaded with 3 rounds. What we're going to do is we're going to shoot those 3 rounds down there. We're going to see how far this gun is able to shoot. So let us kickstart with test number 1. And here we are with test number 2. And here is our 3rd and final test. Okay, so that was the range test, and what we're going to do now is we're going to see how far this gun is able to shoot. The range of this gun is consistent, but consistently poor. At best average. Now the first test here came in at a measly 2 meters and 90 centimeters, which is not good at all. Here the round came in at around 3 meters 15, and then this final shot here came at around 3 meters 20. Now this does show that the gun hasn't got the best range. However, one good thing to say about it is that the performance of this gun is consistent, meaning that when you shoot it, you know exactly what to expect. To put a long story short, this gun's range is certainly not great, and it only can really be rivaled by my LEGO mini crossbow. However, this gun does have a chance to redeem itself with the accuracy test, which we will be going on to shortly. But before we do that, allow me to talk you through the details of this LEGO gun. This is a simple single action LEGO revolver. It uses a manual cylinder, and the manual cylinder is loaded by Technic axles. The first feature to this LEGO revolver is the simple firing mechanism. Using this gear system that I've used on my crossbows before, all you need to do to fire is pull this hammer back, as this gear is stopped by this red piece here that I call the sear, and then attached to the sear is the trigger piece. When I pull it, the hammer is projected forward. like so. Also in this mechanism, and one thing I am happy with, is the rubber band system. So the rubber bands are transported underneath all of this stuff here in the mechanism to keep it tidily out of the way of the rest of the gun. The same effect is achieved at a much lesser extent on the trigger. The break action effect is nice and simple. All it involves is these two sets of LEGO Technic bricks being attached to the outer shell of LEGO Technic bricks that houses the trigger and the main firing mechanism. And the movement of the break action works like this, and it allows me to achieve the effect of the break action and thus allow me to load rounds into the revolver. Another thing you've noticed with this break action lever here are these single studded tiles, and this is useful for attaching this piece here, which has this 4 stud wide to 3 stud wide transition. And it also has these little bits here by the barrel to achieve a circular effect. Attaching this is very simple. You line it all up together and place it on like so. This is the cylinder of the LEGO Revolver. The cylinder is very simple. It uses 4 of these LEGO Technic pieces to simulate a revolving cylinder, which you can load LEGO Technic axles into. What you may also notice is there's a pretty long axle connected to all these Technic pieces. The reason for this axle is the main barrel itself, and it also explains how I've been able to achieve this 4 stud to 3 stud transition effect. Now the first part of this axle holding mechanism is this piece, and you just slot it in like so, but then the final piece of the puzzle involves a certain other piece. So if I take this apart a little further and go digest into here, you have this piece here. This piece is a connector piece with a little slot here to be able to slot in your axles, and when you slot the axle into it, the axle can't go any further forward. So you've got the cylinder, you've got the 4 stud wide part of the gun that has the axle all locked in place, and then you insert it all the way through this component of the gun, where we use the 1x1 stud LEGO Technic brick until the cross-shaped axle is secured in this piece over here, and there you go. The revolving cylinder is now completely secure. Now let's talk about the upper receiver of the LEGO gun. Now the upper receiver uses these little single tiles and slope tiles to achieve a kind of more tactical feel to the revolver, and it also has this stud here, this single studded tile, along with a line of tiles here to kind of achieve a sights effect. And the iron sights themselves are really simple. So the iron sight involves this piece here and these two stud wide stud and connector bit here, and the sights, when you aim down them, looks like this. The sights are incredibly simple, but they do the job. You may have also noticed the same 4 to 3 stud wide transition. It uses this flat LEGO tile, 8 stud wide, connects to these 3 single studded tiles, and then connects to these sets of LEGO tiles here, like this. Like so, to achieve this effect. Now have a look at the underside of the gun. This bit here clearly houses the revolving cylinder. This is where the barrel of the gun would start, the end of here, and here has been left a little higher up to the knees, 1 tile difference, due to the fact that this is used to hold the bricks that assist in the break action of the revolver. Assembling this barrel piece is very simple, so all you do is you get this lower, make sure that the 4 stud wide and 3 stud wide parts are aligned with each other, and align it all together, clasp it on, And there you go. This is the upper and barrel of the revolver. The final feature to this barrel of the LEGO Revolver is a lot more optional. So you may notice these two little studs, which are part of LEGO Technic connectors, and you've got these two pieces here, which is 8x2 studded base plates. All you need to do is attach these onto here like this, and on the other side attach them on like this, and now your gun is fully assembled on the barrel end of it all, and this does help to achieve a whole circular effect, like so. Now it's time to have a look at the lower receiver of this LEGO gun. Here is the grip of the gun, and the grip is very primitive. It doesn't use the standard technique I normally use, and that's due to limitations of the revolver. The grip is very simple, it just uses LEGO bricks. And for these slopes here, to make it not look like a total slob mess, I use these bricks here, these sloped bricks, attached to these studded bricks with studs on the side. I've also achieved a similar effect with LEGO Technic as well, where those sorts of bricks were lacking. Another feature you may be able to notice is this bit here. Those are the two cheese slopes here to kind of help ease the transition from grip to the main part of the gun. Now, for ease of access with the hammer, what I've decided to do was slope my way up to the actual firing mechanism area. So you've got these two slopes that kind of reach up and allow for a gradual edge to the top of the gun where the brake action happens. What you may notice here is to help the brake action, you have these two LEGO studded bricks with the stud on this side as well as on the top, where you held onto that and then pull the brake action down. What's really good about this sort of format is that it's easier to pull the hammer like this. Because of the studded nature of the grip, attaching it back to the gun is very simple. Just, put this gap through here, and then obviously this base plate bit like this, and you get this effect like so. Now, even though a lot of the things are primitive, I don't think the effect that I've managed to achieve is too bad, really. The final feature of the lower receiver is the trigger guard, using an assortment of different base plates, hooks and tiles to achieve a nice little trigger guard effect. Attaching it onto the revolver is very simple. So as you can see, there's this 2 stud wide hooking piece here with hooks attached to it, and this would go here on the grip of the gun like so. And then you may notice this orange piece here that is designed to hold these pieces. You would then bend the trigger guard into shape before attaching it to the gun like so. Now, before we do go on to the accuracy test, just one final crash test on loading the gun. So all you need to do is pull the hammer back first, assuming that you have fired the final round out of the cylinder. Then what you want to do is hold on to these bits and make sure you put your nails on it. Really dig in. Hold on to the bottom of the grip. Hold on to the top of the gun. Pull this down. And there you go. You'll find that the cylinder has been freed up. What you can then do is fit these axles through each hole of the cylinder like so, until you have loaded either how many you want to, up to a maximum of 6. Although I would advise 5 due to the orientation. I'll just demonstrate that in just 2 seconds. So if I fire it correctly and I hold it upright, it'll fire at the gun like so. Though unfortunately, if you do mess around with the orientation, it might slip out due to how finicky this gun is with orientation. But loading this gun is quite easy actually, if you know how to do it. This LEGO gun has some pretty cool features, but can this gun make up for its diabolical range? It is now time to find out here with the accuracy test. Let's go. Can this revolver hit these 3 targets? It is now time to find out. So we're going to kick things off with test number 1. pass. Here we are with test number 2. Pass. And here we are with our third and final test. Pass. All 3 pass. So as we can see, this LEGO Revolver does have some degree of accuracy. However, I am not entirely convinced that it is perfectly accurate, and I can tell you that it's really not that accurate because when I've been going around doing the shooting montages, I have managed to miss quite a few targets with this thing. However, is the performance of it consistent, provided I keep the variables the same? Is it something to do with a misaligning of barrels, or is it something to do with me, the shooter? It will be time to find that out shortly. But before we do that, allow me to go on my own personal opinion of this LEGO gun. So, to start off with, this LEGO gun is pretty nice, pretty compact in terms of a revolver. There's nothing too complicated about it. One of the good things is it's got a nice simple mechanism. It's all very intuitive. If you've used a revolver or anything similar, you're going to understand, pull the hammer, shoot. It doesn't get any more complicated than that. The only bit that's a little complicated is turning the cylinder, but it's fairly easy to do. The cylinder remains in one place, and in terms of the actual structure, it's actually quite robust. The trigger guard's probably the least robust of it, but the actual gun itself is really robust. Another really good thing is the transition from 3 studs to 2 studs, and it's got a really nice feel to it, and it just helps it feel a little bit more realistic, and it's also a really nice way that I've added detail. Another really good thing is the sight. However terrible this revolver is, the sights are really good, and they're actually a lot better than some of my other guns. I really have spent a lot of time trying to polish the gun to give it a really nice, really great look that some of my other guns really don't have. The trigger guard is a really nice addition, and it's actually got really nice shaping, and also, provided you're careful, it doesn't break when you do the break action. It just bends around, and then when you click it back in, it's exactly as you left it. Also, the break action, really nice to do, really simple, and really satisfying. And you can click it in very simply, like so. Loading the rounds, again, is very simple. It uses an intuitive, cylinder system. So anyone that's picked up any form of revolving gun, even if it's a revolving Nerf gun, would pretty much understand that sort of basic. Also, the gun's pretty comfortable to use, pretty simple to use. And although there's not much power in this gun's really crap in terms of power, it is really good in terms of consistency. Basically, this gun is a great gun in terms of aesthetics. However, I'm going to start talking about some of the really bad things. First off, the revolver cylinder doesn't spin. Have you seen it? Have you seen it? It just stays affixed, and you have to turn it. I have never seen a real shooting revolver where you turn the cylinder manually. Even the early ones using black powder were able to turn automatically for you. So it's kind of a massive pain in the arse. It makes it not that fun to shoot, really. You kind of shy away from shooting it just due to the whole turning of the cylinder thing. Unfortunately, this is all too common, and the idea of spinning a LEGO Revolver has only really come about recently with Joe's LEGO Revolver that spins, and another one, I'll show the name on the screen below, that sent me a video link of his revolver that spins using a simple rubber band mechanism. It also presents a lot of issues in consistency. You can end up misaligning the barrel to the cylinder and end up having rounds that either shoot down on the bottom or rounds that fly in totally the wrong direction, which are both things that I have experienced, even with my aim being spot on. Thankfully, we have solved the issue a little bit by using a single stud barrel, but not enough for me to actually like it. Another real big issue, another real big bummer is the power. The power is gobshite awful compared to some of my other builds. I could say one good thing about it, it's consistency, which I already have, but the power is not good. It's not up to par with some of my other guns. I've now got brick shooting guns that can shoot very far, so this is very disappointing in that regard. Another really bad thing is things can easily break. I know I said it's sturdy, but mostly sturdy at the top receiver. This bit can easily break, the trigger guard can, and
the grip can end up having episodes of bits breaking off, but it's due to how flimsy things are being made. Also, the way the brake action works well, but some of the bits that break off during the brake action, it's just not very consistent. All in all, I like the gun-ish, but it's only really a fun playing around and aesthetic thing. It's certainly not something you would add to any arsenal if you want your guns to have any meaning. It's a fun little piece, but that's all it is. It's a shame. I was hoping for this gun to be really good. Maybe in the future I'll try and improve this revolver as much as I can, but I wouldn't count on it because really, you can't really do too much with a LEGO Revolver. And the idea of creating a really good, really powerful LEGO Revolver, unless there are a few people that have tried and a few people that have made really good innovations with revolvers, but the idea of a really powerful, really efficient LEGO Revolver made out of Lego just seems a bit too far out. That being said though, if we remove all the other variables, has this gun got consistent performance? It is now time to find that out with the precision test.
This gun may have passed the accuracy test, but can you do the precision test? It is now time to find out. Just a little note, because there are so many different side variables with this revolver, the fact that you can misalign the cylinder, this weapon will not be able to ascertain possibly the best consistent performance if we load a full cylinder due to so many variables in terms of spinning the actual chamber around manually. It caused so many issues. So we're going to load one round each and we're going to see if it can hit a fixed target. So, same as usual, test number 1, pass. Here is test number 2. Pass. And here is the third and final test. Pass. All 3 pass. As we can see from the precision test, if you remove all the variables that could go wrong with this gun, including misalignment and stuff like that, you'll find that this gun does have consistent performance. And although it's got that, as well as some really cool features and cool aesthetics to it, it still leaves a lot to be desired. It's more a prop thing rather than something that you would use as a serious LEGO gun, in my opinion. And that is it for today's episode. Now, if you like the video, give it a like, and if you want to see more, click subscribe, and of course next time we'll be showing you this awesome LEGO open bolt brick shooter built out of 100% LEGO Technic pieces. This uses a box magazine like this that's locked into this mag well, and to load the magazine, very simple, pull this bolt back like this until the trigger is locked like this, put the magazine in, and you can see the mag well here, put the magazine release in like that, and then you're ready to fire. Now you take aim and shoot. As you can see, this gun is pretty powerful and I am really looking forward to showing this to you guys. So thank you guys for watching this video, and of course, keep on building.